My girlfriend of 6 years quit her job to travel the world. Now 2 months later, she's been extremely distant, and I think her next destination is a future without me. For a bit of backstory, I, 31M, met my girlfriend Lisa, 26F, 2 years before we started dating. At the time, I was dating someone else. Lisa was one of my flatmates at uni, and we bonded very quickly, so we were friends for a while. My girlfriend at the time broke up with me, and I had a brief fling with Lisa. There was no smashing, but we did kiss, hold hands, etc. We were very close as friends, and this felt very natural. However, I moved out a week later and relocated to the other side of the country. At the time, I was in a very bad place for a variety of reasons, and we slowed down talking as much. Then, a year later, she randomly reached out again, and we started talking. We reconnected completely. I was just graduating uni, and she was about to enter her final year after taking a gap year for work experience. She came to visit me at uni, and at this time, I fully expected it to be just a friendly visit, but it quickly became more. Soon after, she was back home, and we were chatting every day for literally up to 12 hours on FaceTime. We did it so often. I fell completely in love with her, and soon after, we became official. We've lived together for the last 4 years, having moved in together about 6 months before COVID. We had an amazing time. We adored lockdown, so much time to just develop our relationship and love each other. We have had such a wonderful relationship, always able to communicate with each other about our feelings, understand each other, and always insistent on not allowing ourselves to become too codependent. We lived our own separate lives, and we liked that. When together in our flat, we lived in our own wonderful bubble full of inside jokes and words we ascribed our own meanings to. We always attributed the strength of our relationship to the fact that we were friends first. No jealousy ever, rarely any arguments, and when there were arguments, we always managed to handle them well. We've talked extensively about our future, we've said we want to be married to each other, and have even picked out names for our future kids. We're not ready for any of that yet, as we are building our careers, but it always felt like this was it. She's had a job for the past 4 years that she ended up hating. She quit earlier this year and has been saving up to go traveling. She did the Philippines and is now in Australia. She's been there for 2 months now. When she first went, I told her that she needed to fully embrace it and not to worry about me. The arrangement was simple. Our tenancy in our flat ended at the same time she planned to travel, so I've moved in with my friend, and she's away for 3 months. Our goal, which we discussed a lot, was that when she returned, she'd find a new job, we'd find a new place, and resume building our life together. Slowly, we started talking less and less, and while at first I was happy, there were little things that were ringing alarm bells. Such little things, but when you know someone so well, and when you know your relationship so well, these small things stand out. She'd not reply for days at a time but still post on her Instagram story. She'd post things, like feeding a wallaby, but not share that with me. I love animals, and she loves how childlike I get around them. She always said she feels sad seeing animals without me because she can't see my reactions to them. But now she's not sharing them with me. I brought this up 1 month into her traveling, initially framed in an I miss you kind of way, and it landed well. She said she'd try to talk to me a bit more, but she just withdrew even more. I brought it up again 2 weeks later, this time with a bit more of a maybe can we try to talk a bit more kind of way. I also mentioned that I regret telling her before she traveled that I would be fine with not talking much. While I truly meant it at the time, in action, it was hurting me more than I expected. She understood and promised we'd talk more, but we talked less. A few days ago, I brought it up again, and this time, it was different. Each time, she's always insisted that she is in a bubble and needs to focus 100% on the traveling. I asked her if she could just give me 5 minutes every few days, just to say hello, but she said she wasn't sure she could even do that. This really upset me because we are 6 years in, and we have always had such a strong relationship, so I was surprised at how unwilling she was. I said we needed to talk about this properly over the phone, and she suggested the following night. Her time in Australia would make it around 8 to 10 a.m. my time. I was ready at that time, but she postponed it an hour as she was going for a sunset walk and then going out for dinner with her traveling friends. Then, it was postponed further, but I could no longer make the call as I had a client meeting. I told her how upset I was that she prioritized a sunset walk over our relationship, and that she had already had 2 months of them. I was only asking for 1 evening so we could talk about the future of our relationship. She agreed we needed to talk about the future of our relationship but said she couldn't do that until she returned home in 5 weeks. I said I couldn't wait that long and went to focus on my client. Essentially, she said she's so confused right now because she's in a bubble of traveling, and she's not sure if this is what she wants anymore. She floated the idea of wanting to move to Australia. She clearly doesn't see me in her future anymore. I am just so blindsided because we were so close, strong, and happy before, and now her traveling has totally changed everything. I asked her if she still loves me, and she wasn't sure she could answer that. She was very much down the middle about everything, clearly confused about the situation but not wanting to cause too much of an interference to her bubble right now. My impression was that she wanted to just ignore this was happening until she came back. So, where do I go now? I am so lost, so confused, and so hurt. I want to be with her and spend my life with her, but she just might not want that now. Update 1. So, it was a grueling 2 weeks in which I took everyone's advice, as well as my own judgment, and didn't contact her at all. It was insanely difficult because I didn't really know anything about her perspective. I felt like I was in limbo. I didn't know where I stood and didn't know where she stood. Every day was day 1 of grieving, and the longer time went on, the more difficult it became. She had acted so coldly with me regarding talking about what was happening, and as I mentioned earlier, she had prioritized her traveling over my well-being and the well-being of our relationship. It was really hurting me because she knows me well, and I felt very confused and frankly traumatized that she was refusing to give me any answers. It was driving me insane. I wasn't eating or sleeping. I wasn't working much and couldn't concentrate on anything. I cried a lot. After a certain point, I decided that I couldn't continue this any longer, and although I tried to respect her need for space, I needed to respect my own need for answers. So, I reached out to her again. 2 days ago, we had a long, 2-hour video chat. She's currently in Vietnam. She sat in the hall of a hostel, and we talked openly, warmly, honestly, and in depth about both of our feelings. There were a lot of tears. It was a very emotionally draining conversation, but it gave me a lot of answers and resolved much of the turbulence I had experienced. I had written her a letter on the morning of the scheduled call, and I read it out to her. I explained how she had made me feel and how unempathetic I felt she had been. She took this on board on a profound level and deeply apologized. I could tell she was truly hurt with herself for having behaved like that. She acknowledged that she had buried her head in the sand regarding her feelings. It was truly powerful to hear her be so candid. This was the girl I had fallen in love with. She was usually so empathetic, smart, and sensitive, so her behavior in the past few weeks being the opposite of that had created such strange feelings in me. I was glad that we were talking back on the level we were usually so good at. But long story short, it is over. You see, I am her first boyfriend. Sure, she has slept with her fair share of lads, but I'm her first relationship. We met when I was 22, and she was 18. I was really the only man in her life for a long time. Now she's traveling and feels a deep sense within herself that she needs to explore herself and her life without a partner. She needs to be alone to do this. I completely understand this. It's not what I wanted to hear, but it's something I obviously understand and won't stand in the way of. She's planning to move to Australia for a while and continue her soul search. Right now, she just doesn't see a place for me and what she needs from her life. It's heartbreaking. I'm heartbroken. I love her deeply. She still loves me. But sometimes that just isn't enough, and that's all there really is to it. A lot of you suggested, sometimes with quite a cruel snarkiness, that she was cheating. She wasn't. I'm sure some of you will still believe that, but that's fine. Maybe you just haven't been in a real, adult relationship where there is honesty and transparency. This is not about another man, this is just about her recalibrating what she wants from her future. Now I need to figure out how to recalibrate my future. We had talked extensively about marriage. I was ready to spend my life with her. We had already named our future kids. Everything about the future that we had envisioned is now gone. It is really difficult right now to imagine being with anyone else, because the depth of our relationship was so strong. Every night, I am awakened by the isms of our relationship, the small quirks, the in-jokes, the made-up language we used, the tone of voice we would speak to each other in, the food we'd eat together, the things we'd do together, the songs we'd sing together, our touch, the warmth of her body against mine, the smell of her perfume, the way she'd say my name in a cute way when I'd done something cheeky. So many things are littering my mind right now. I'm struggling to see through it. I have no idea how I will make it through. If anyone can share any advice that can help me, please do. I know the obvious stuff, Jim, focus on yourself, rebuild your life, and so on, but they are all intangible to me. How do I repair my soul? How do I move on from someone I am still actively in love with? She returns to the UK at the start of July, and I will be spending a few days with her. A goodbye, if you will. It will be hard, and every fiber of my being wants to beg her to find a way to include me in her future, or to entertain the notion that, in the future, we will find our way back to each other in some grandiose fatalistic stroke. I had truly defined her as my soulmate and my best friend, and she had done the same for me. Right now, while she's still traveling, she's not able to sit in any of these feelings, but I know they'll come for her too once she returns to her parents and lives there for 6 months as she saves for her future travels. I don't know what the future looks like now. If anyone has any advice, please let me know. Commenter. Op asks how to try and heal and move on while planning to see her and spend days with her. He should go no contact, complete cold turkey. It's hard, but he has to accept that the only way to move on is to allow himself to feel this way for some time. As time passes, it will slowly get better. He should give himself grace for feeling this way and not managing to move on quickly. Sometimes, you can't do anything else but give yourself time.